Every year, on the fourth Thursday of November, our American friends celebrate Thanksgiving. Initially, it was a celebration of gratitude to God, but it was later rebranded. Let me tell you the real story. In 1620, one of the first immigrants from Europe landed on the coast of America. They arrived from England. There were about 100 of them. They were cold and hungry, a little like today due to the energy crisis. But anyway, half of the immigrants died before spring. The remaining immigrants from Europe were helped by the indigenous people of America, the Indians. They taught these European immigrants the secrets of agriculture, told what crops can be grown, where they came from, and introduced them to the intricacies of local livestock. The migrants were then able to settle in their own colony, the Plymouth colony. Later, Massachusetts arose at the site. Maybe the first white Americans felt a sense of gratitude, so they wanted to thank their Indian friends, maybe. Or maybe they simply understood that they couldn't survive without the help of the Indians at first. So a year later, on a cold November month, they invited the Indians who saved them to their colony and set the festive table. That was the beginning of Thanksgiving. But guess what? The conquerors of the New World began the systemic extermination of their saviors. In North America, about 400 tribes lived in the 16th century. The Indians there spoke different languages, had their own writing, custom, their culture in various different places on the continent. In fact, there were different nationalities who had lived on Earth since time immemorial. These immigrants from Europe unleashed the most barbaric war against local tribes. Million people became victims of these immigrants. These immigrants started to seize land containing minerals, robbed hunting grounds, and robbed Native American settlements. These immigrants were none other than the Anglo-Saxons. They brought many diseases to which the Indians didn't have immunity. Entire villages died out due to epidemics. Then in 1776, the United States of America was formed from 13 British colonies.
Our forefathers in those 13 colonies were farmers with an assortment of rifles. On that historic day in 1776, these 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to birth the land of the free and the home of the brave.
In 1825, the robberies of the Indians were legalized. The Anglo-Saxons decided that the Indians would lose ownership of their own land. After that, the Indians, in accordance with the invented new American laws, began to be driven into reservations created for them in deserts. Those who opposed were murdered. And the murders didn't stop there. In the 19th century, about 75 million bisons, a humpbacked, shaggy-haired wild ox native to North America, were destroyed in order to deprive the Indian tribes of food. The Indians were shown no mercy. Their women were also sterilized. The ancestors of modern America killed over 100 million Native Americans. Their language has been destroyed. Their culture has been destroyed. They didn't even spare the native animals. Fast forward today, on Thanksgiving, Americans consume hundreds of thousands of turkeys, washing the meat down their throat with fine wine. They talk about the exceptional mission that fate entrusted to them, and that is, supposedly, to carry democracy and civilization to the less developed people. I'm not exaggerating here. That's exactly what Thanksgiving is, the destruction of people and their history and land. This has become a symbol of American policy, both within its country and around the world. They come to you with nice words and a smile.
I've come here to Cairo to seek a new beginning between the United States and Muslims around the world.
But when they get the opportunity, they will take everything.
Muammar Gaddafi has lost legitimacy to lead, and he must leave.
Since the end of World War II to the present, Washington has unleashed more than 70 military conflicts. The Americans, under the pretext of protection of freedom and human rights, have repeatedly invaded sovereign countries, bombed peaceful cities, and destroyed states. As in the story of the destruction of the indigenous people of America, the United States uses all methods available to it in the war for resources around the world. They organize coup d'etat, organize economic crisis with the help of threats, bribery, blackmail, deceit and provocation, and sow hostility. They devastate countries and leave people hungry so the Americans can take advantage. American foreign policy is quite simple, that is, to capture material goods that doesn't belong to them. I would really appreciate if you can share this video to an American friend who might be celebrating Thanksgiving today. Have they wondered why they offer thanks, and most importantly, who do they thank on this day? It's certainly not God. Thanks for listening to the Independent Islamic Republic of Foreign Policy Hawk. Assalamu alaikum, adios, shalom aleichem, sasrikal, and have a lovely night.